Welcome to another S&P 500 analysis. Today is May 26, 2021. So what is the S&P 500 trying to do? And how good of a job is it doing? So in this video, we're going to take a look at the S&P 500 and the other major market indexes to see what they are trying to do and how good of a job are they doing. In addition, we're going to take a look at gold and also Tesla and see what they are trying to do. So stay tuned. Let's first start looking at this sentiment chart here. As you can see, the VIX came back below the 20 level and today is sitting at 17.26. And also the put call ratio is down at the 0.47 and way below this 0.75. So once again, the market participant are risk on, and the S&P 500 is still struggling, try to get up to the all-time high. You see it doing up one day, down one day, up one day, down one day, and up one day, kind of creeping up there. So not too good of a job that it's doing so far. So let's go and take a look at the internal and see how they are doing. And looking at the up-down volume ratio for the New York Stock Exchange, the up-down volume ratio was 3.8 in favor of the up volume. And there are 1,178 more advancing issue than declining issue, with the S&P 500 close up 7.88 points or 0.19%. 131 more new high than new low. And looking at the New York Stock Exchange cumulative AD line, today it put in a new high. So that put in a positive divergence. The Nasdaq 100 also closed up today 45 point or 0.33%. The up-down volume ratio was 3.35 in favor of the up volume, and the advancing issue led the declining issue by a margin of 2,136. In the Nasdaq market, 56 more new high than new low today. And the cumulative AD line for the Nasdaq market, although it came up, but there was still this negative divergence. So all in all, the market sentiment is telling us the market participants are getting a little bit more complacent and getting a bit greedy now, and they are putting on more risk. And the advanced decline on the New York Stock Exchange did put in a new high. So with the Emini SP500 Globex all-time high still waiting to be validated, and that AD line coming up to a new high, sort of reaffirm that that's a good possibility that the S&P 500 would come up and put in a new closing high. Now let's go and take a look at the price action of the indexes before we go and take a look at gold and Tesla. Looking at this S&P 500 daily chart, you can see that it is still trying to come up and overtake this upper trend line here. Right now is putting an inside day today, so we'll see would it come and break down below it or break above it to try to get above this trend line and move its way up toward the all-time closing high. So right now it is still pretty much trying to get above this line, so we just have to keep an eye on it. But you never know, if it decides to pull back, it could come back in and try to test this area, this 4,060 once again before it make another push up. Because basically right now it could be pulling back and back test this pivot high here. Because recently you could look at this as putting in a double bottom, and here's that double bottom pivot high breakout point. So it could come back and maybe do a little bit of a back test before it pushes above and try to take out the current all-time high. And for the Nasdaq 100, it is still trying to get back above this 13,713. Remember, we were saying that we need to see it come back up and also take out this pivot high here. And if it could take out this pivot high, then the all-time high will be back in play. So just kind of keep an eye on this. Again, they also put in an inside day today. So we'll keep an eye to see would it pull back and come back down, retest this 13,280, or just push right to and get above this 13,713 and try to take out this pivot high. For the Russell 2000 stay above the 2195, and we're basically looking to see would it be able to come back up to overtake this 2297 level. If it could overtake this 2297, then that pretty much put the all-time high back in play. So we're just watching these two levels here to see which way you're going to go. If it breaks below the 2195, then we would likely see a test down here at 2075. The Dow Jones Transportation is struggling a little bit. It's trying to come back up to this 16,000 level, but it's not making too much of a headway. And we could see it pull back and test this 15,000 level if it breaks below this level here, somewhere around 15,300. The Dow Jones Industrial is also struggling to try to get back above this upper channel trend line and come up to fill this gap. If it could do that, then this all-time closing high will be in play. And right now, with the Dow theory still in play, that is pointing to a possibility that the Dow Jones Industrial will likely come up and make a new closing high. So we'll basically wait and see right now. Would it break through and come up, fill this gap to make this all-time closing high, or would it pull back, come back down and retest this 33,500 level, then make another push? So we just have to wait and see to see what it's going to do. Let's take a look at the Emini SP500 future. I like to look at that because it provides us with the volume profile, and that could help us identify potential support and resistance zone. So right now, this is a 60-minute chart. And as you can see, it has been balancing inside of this area here between 4113 and 4200. So right now, it is basically trying to break out of this zone and come up to this 4214 and a quarter. If it could break above this 4214 and a quarter, then this all-time high will be in play. And this is the Globex all-time high, 4238 and a quarter. So we'll see, would it be able to do that in the coming day, or would it actually retrace back down and retest this 4113 once again, and then get another bounce back up before it come up and put this 4238 and a quarter validation of the Globex all-time high. So that's basically what I'm watching right now. Now, the thing is, if it could come back down here before it does that, then that would be a good location to look for a potential setup to swing it back up, knowing that there's a good possibility that it could come up and put in that all-time high. Or if it breaks, then we basically will watch for this level at 4052 and a quarter and see would it get a bounce off of that to come up, because this is also another zone that has been balancing as well. This is a bigger balance area. So those are the two levels that I'd be watching on the downside to see could I get a setup for a swing long back up to this Globex all-time high of 38 and a quarter. And looking at the market profile chart of the Emini SP500, you can also see that it is balancing a little bit right here. Okay? And there are some single print and also some point of control that need to be resolved on the upside. But there are also some single print and a point of control that need to be tagged as well on the downside. So essentially, this could go either way. If it comes down and it get down into this area here, that might be a good location to keep an eye out for a potential setup. Or if it doesn't hold and come down on here, down at this 4060, 4050, that would be also another trade location to look for a possible swing up setup. Basically, this is the level that we are targeting, 4238.25. Now let's take a look at Tesla. Remember last time when we look at Tesla, we were talking about this range here, that it might be doing a little bit of a balancing and might could come up. But there's also this trend line here that it could come up and backtest and get pushed back down. And then the other thing is it could come back and get rejected from this low volume zone and come back down into this high volume node, right? This high volume zone here below 465. So there are a lot of possibilities for Tesla price action right now. It could come up to this trend line, do a back test and get rejected, do a back test and fail. Or it could come up to this trend line and come up to this zone here, this 715.47 area, and then get rejected back down. Or let's continue to push up to this 753 and break this downtrend, then we could be watching for a possibility of Tesla moving back up to the all-time high. Okay, so right now I'm basically looking at the possibility of some sort of retracement, and that this breakout level here, remember, book above this, so I'm still waiting for at least a short-term back test of this 595 area. Then maybe it could push up or just break down and work itself back down to this 539. So, and if we go and take a look at the market profile, you can see some of the level to keep an eye on. So here's the market profile of the Tesla. And right now, there's some single print that just left behind today. And here's the point of control. So let me zoom this in a little bit, and then we can take a closer look at these. So 2 days ago, we have a lot of these single print. Right? It's just more of a short covering type of move. And some of the single print got resolved yesterday, but there are still a lot of single print down here that also need to be resolved. And there's a big spike down here that also need to kind of get tagged a little bit. And today we also got this single prints here. So tomorrow I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe Tesla come up, check this 621 and then pull back and fill the single print and then work itself back down to this area here, okay, on the downside. If Tesla decide to pull back, and these are the levels that I'd be keeping an eye on for the coming days, and eventually watch for these single prints to get filled here, these two this zone here. Okay, so that's basically what I'll be watching for Tesla in the coming day. If we could push through and get above this high here, today's high, then we're essentially looking for a move up to that to this level here, to this 715 area. Basically it's moving into this zone here, right? Because that's basically this high volume zone that it could be chopping around to work itself up to this 753 area. And here looking at gold, remember we were talking about watching gold break out of this trend line here, and we saw a little bit of a back test, and right now it seems to be wanting to work itself up to this 1923 level. And right now got a little bit of a spinning top today, so we might see a little bit of a pullback and possibly come back and retest these this area here also before it make another move up. But definitely I'm looking for gold to get above this 1923 and into this 1960 area here. So just kind of keep an eye on it, for any kind of pullback, and see would it present some trade opportunity to play a swing back up at least to this 1923 and then possibly to this 1960 area. So that's a quick look of the S&P 500, gold, and Tesla. As you can see, the S&P 500 is trying to make its way up to the new all-time closing high. It is not doing a very good job at it because it seems like it's just one day up, one day down, and one day up, one day down. So it's just kind of crawling up there. So I wouldn't be surprised that we'll see a little bit of a pullback before we get that one push to get it up to that S&P 500 all-time closing high. And then for gold seems to be doing a much better job of getting to a higher level. Ever since it broke out of this sort of a double bottom pattern, it came up pretty nicely with a lot of momentum. But also right now it seems to be might be setting up to do a little bit of a consolidation here. Just kind of pull back a little bit before it make another push, get it above this 1923 and into the next pivot high level up at the 1960 area. And for Tesla, it might have found some support down here at 539 because it got a nice bounce here recently. So it's coming up. We'll have to watch to see would it be able to pass a back test of this trend line and get above it and work toward the 715 area, basically get back above the 700 mark. If it could do that, then these level could be back in play, the 715, 753. But if it fail and start coming back down to this 539 area, then we could see it work itself back down to the 465. That's it for today. I hope you found this video useful. Be sure to smash that thumbs up to help me promote and share this video. Thank you for watching and stay safe.